So, do I just start?
I guess. I'm nervous.
So, why do you want to make this video?
Because I feel like I'm giving my departure to dance, and dance has been such a huge part of my life for 15 years, and I'm ready to move on. And I think this is the best way I know how, is to just be like, bleh, this is what I did for 15 years, goodbye. Yeah.
What is your relationship like with dance today?
Better than it used to be. I think it used to be really bad. I was so good, dance was so good, I really loved it a lot. I don't love it anymore. I guess that's what it is. My relationship with dance today is, I fell out of love with it. I lost my passion for it, and I'm searching for something new. Or maybe I gave what I could, and now it's time to find something else that fulfills me.
What is your earliest memory involving dance?
A funny one. So I didn't start dancing till I was 16, turning 17, and I used to make my parents watch me dance in front of the TV. My mom would watch hockey, and I'd be like, hey babe, I learned an entire Britney choreo routine from her music video, and you're gonna watch me, so pause the game. I was dancing. I don't remember. I think my earliest memory is I watched a video of this memory, if that makes sense. My dad used to film me all the time on a camcorder, and I made him record me dancing an interpretive dance to The Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas. And I don't remember that moment, but I remember watching a video of it. But I was probably 5 or 6. Yeah.
When and why did you start training in dance?
I think I wanted to dance, but I was scared. And I just knew that I liked showing my parents my dancing. And my mom got tired of me This is why. My mom got tired of me interrupting her hockey game. So she called a studio that was opening up, and she was like, are there any boys classes? And they signed me up for a boys class because she was tired of me interrupting her hockey game. So thanks, Mom.
When did you decide to make dance your career?
I was failing out of high school, miserably failing. When I say miserably failing, I was failing at the midterm. I failed classes. It was really bad. But I didn't care about school. It wasn't that I wasn't smart. I just I didn't care. If I worked really hard in school, I felt like there was no place for me or nowhere to go. Whereas when I danced, you can't be good. The thing about dance is you can't be the best. You can't. It's impossible. It's you work so hard. And that's just really what I liked, is I liked working really hard in that way, the physicality of it. And I just knew in grade 12, after only dancing for a year, that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So honestly, I think in grade 12, I was fuck school, fuck learning that shit. I want to do this because there's no end in that. This is the end because I'm making this video. There's no end in how much you can learn, if that makes sense to me. Whereas I felt in school, you learned from a textbook, and that's the end. Once you know, and now you have the job. And I was like, nah, I want to learn this for the rest of my life.
Why did you stop performing?
I hate it. I hated performing. When did I learn that I hated performing? The very first time I ever stepped on a competition stage, I realized I fucking hated it with my soul. I liked training, like I said before. I really liked training because you just work really hard and it's for you. Whereas when you're performing, it's for other people, and I really hated that. That I worked my ass off and killed myself and limped out of a studio, broke bones, and but I would walk on stage and somebody who has never seen me before was going to tell me how I did, but they didn't know how hard I worked during the year. And I just thought that was so silly and so stupid. When people go on stage and they perform, that's the best time they ever danced, and that I don't get that feeling. I think the best time I ever danced was when I was just dancing to exhaustion in a studio by myself, or with people I'm comfortable with. I don't want to dance for people I don't know. I don't give a fuck about you.
How has dance affected your mental and physical health over the years, both positively and negatively?
So bad. But I think that's like a personal thing. Like I can't condemn dance. I think my first dance teacher ever was sick. Like she had a very visible issue with food. I had already struggled. Like she wasn't the reason. She was just like, I don't know. Like I was 16. I already had body issues, but I didn't really have like an outlet for it. Like I just had them. And then when I met her, and she was this like perfect being, like in my eyes, like at the time she was this like perfect being, and I emulated her, and like I wanted to look like her and dance like her and be like her. Like she was like the goal, because I didn't know anything different. Also, like I'm so new to dance, like I knew nothing, and to me she was perfect. I saw that she was visibly getting smaller, and like she was more like sick, and it just kind of became like an outlet for me. Like the way that I could be perfect like her was to be like her. And there's a couple other kids that were also in the same boat. Like they were the same in that way. So I think it started bad. I hated what I looked like so badly. I don't know. But I was weirdly so cocky. Like I was such an asshole, but I was so cocky. And then when I moved away, I met my next mentor, and she was the same. So I can't tell if like I just like gravitated towards people like that, because it seems like every mentor I've had has problems, like the same problems. Dancing was never like an outlet to like get rid of things and get rid of feelings, or like leave it all in the studio. Like people say all the time, dance is supposed to be therapy, like leave it all in the studio, blah, blah, blah. And like dancing was never that for me, like ever. Like I never experienced that like purge of emotions while dancing. Choreography, that's different. It really fucked up my mental health because I hated my body and I was surrounded by people who did too. So that was really bad. The positive is that I moved on from dancing myself and I went to teaching, and I was able to like purge my emotions, and like that was my form of therapy, was like in creating, and like anything I was going through, like nobody knew, but like I just put that into that, and that was like how I expressed. So that's like, it affected me really negatively, dancing, and like my performance wise, or sorry, my performance aspect, because I felt like I was never going to be good enough. I was always letting people down. Like I was whatever. Anyway, dancing, negative. Choreographing, positive. Very positive. I hope that made sense.
What is your favorite moment from your entire dance career?
It's not a moment. So maybe I'm not answering the question, but it's not a moment, but I have a piece of like choreo that I did on Lakin, Larissa, Cassie, Megan, my like OG students. They just like, it was the perfect marriage of like 4 people who understood like my soul, and everything I wanted to make. The dance was called Impossible Conversations, and it was about wanting to like scream something into someone's ear so that they finally hear you, but like you can't. So there's this like moment where Megan, I think she grabs Lakin's head and she like screams at her. She's like this, but nothing comes out. She's like yelling at her face, but like, I don't know. They just trusted me so much, and I've never had that before, and I've never had that again. I love everybody I teach, but I think that like that specific group, that was like my most proud moment of my life, happiest moment, best moment, was like seeing it come together and like the process, because they were really invested in the process, and like they wanted to understand and like help me express it. So I don't know, it just like wasn't like dance, it was like just the perfect marriage. Yeah, that's my favorite. I'll never forget it. That's my favorite moment of all time.
When and why did you fall out of love with dance?
So I fell out of love with dancing when I was dancing for a blue jay. There's a blue jay. Sorry. See them all the time. Anytime I'm like talking about something like really intense. It's so funny. Anyway, they like live in my backyard. So I remember I worked really hard to dance with a specific dance company. Like that's all I wanted was to be a part of it. And then I became like a lead in it. And like that was it should have been such a like a rewarding moment. I should have been so happy with myself. I should have been so like, I worked my fucking ass off to get this. Like I dreamed for years of being in this position and now I'm in it. And like I should have appreciated it, but I didn't, because we traveled, we did the show. I was never proud. Like I realized I was like, I just always felt like I was letting the choreographer down. I was letting myself down. Like I was never going to be what I wanted. And like, it's funny because that's what made me love dance, was like the idea of you can't be good. Like you can't be the best. And then in the end, that was like what killed it for me, was like, I'll never be what I want. So I might as well not do it anymore. But then I fell in love with teaching and stuff like choreographing. COVID didn't help, I think, because I had so much time away from it. And I just like realized that I don't like love it anymore. It doesn't feed my soul anymore. It's not what it was for so long. And I just like, I felt like I gave so much to it. And I'm interested in other things too now. So I don't think that's helped. Yeah.
So, for you, what's the difference between performing and teaching?
I don't get anxiety when it comes to like teaching. There are dancers, choreographers, and performers, and they're not everybody is all three. And it's very flattering that people are very nice when I perform. I don't share my dancing, like, which is really funny because it's such a huge part of my life, and like most people who follow me, which is so funny, have no idea. And they like, I'll post a video and they'll be like, why are you keeping this from me? And it's just like, because I can't, I don't know. I'm so insecure about my own like performing and my own dancing and all of that I don't ever feel good doing it. And I feel so good and like so fulfilled teaching, because like I loved the process of learning when I started dancing. I love having kids who also love that process, and like I know their physical limits, they don't. I can push them to like the max, and then they come to me and they're like, I had no idea like I was capable of that. And like that is all I ever want to do. Like I don't give a shit about competition. I don't give a shit about that. It's so stupid to me, because kids work so hard all year, and like I hated some judge who's never met you in their life who does like a style that like who judges a style that they can't do or don't understand, can ruin your whole soul as like a kid. I try in the studio to just make them like feel like they accomplished something. So the difference is I don't feel fulfilled dancing myself. I feel full when a kid comes to me at the end of the year and they're like, LOL. I never imagined this is what I'd be like. So yeah, I want to change their lives, not my own.
What do you see for your future in dancing?
Like, I don't know. I would love if I could use it in a way. I think I'm going to be done teaching eventually, done choreographing. And like, as far as the dance industry, like I don't want any part of it as much anymore in all aspects. But I'm going to try to create something different. And I don't know what it is. But I hope that like I can bring that like movement quality and like body awareness and like that kind of stuff into art that I create moving forward. I don't want to leave art. I just think the structure of dance as a business is no longer for me. Like, I think that's not for me anymore. And I just want to use it in a way that fulfills me and like stimulates me creatively, not in a way that's paid. I think that's more what I want to say. I don't want a transactional. Like, I don't want that. It takes like a little bit of the love out. I want to like just do it, I don't know, in a different way.
How do you choreograph? Like, where do you get your inspiration from?
Oh, so funny. So I've always had this thing, and I've like Jaden said it to me today. She was like, yeah, you see those like shadows. And I'm like, yeah, like when I talked to that spiritual healer, she even said, like, she just brought it up. What did she say? She was like, do you remember your last like creative moment? And I said like that quartet, the one I talked about earlier. And she was like, do you know why you've fallen out of love? And I was like, I don't know, whatever. And she goes, it's because you don't follow the shadows anymore. And so like I have this thing, and I've always had this, like always, where every student I had could tell you this. I choreograph, say like a piece of something, like, I don't know, a phrase. And I go, can you do it for me, like in front of me? So they do that in front of me, and then like I see this like almost like shadow, I don't know how to describe it, but a shadow is the best word, where like it's doing a more amplified or like a crazier or like the impossible version, like something so wild. And like that's always been what my students can all tell you this too, for like a decade. I've always strived to be like, oh, that's not possible? Let's fucking do it then. Because no one else is going to do it, so let's do that. That's impossible. That's why I like ballet. It's like impossible, let's do it. I will choreograph a phrase, and it's purely physical. There's no emotion, nothing behind it. And then I'll see this like shadow, and I go, all right, try this. Okay, let's do this. Okay, try this. It's like so much trial and error, a lot more error. And then when I'm pulling from like an emotion, it's really funny because my best choreographic works were when I was like depressed. But like, welcome to anybody who makes anything creative. Like, it's harder to create from like happiness because what I'm gonna fucking do, smile? No, that's stupid. It's easier to create from like a place of like, wah, you know? So like when my life was like a mess, it was way easier to choreograph. I think also the reason dance has been tough lately is because my life is like awesome. So like I have nothing to purge, I have nothing to say. Like it's hard for me that way. So, I don't know, my creative process comes from like horrible things. And so the spiritual healer lady was like, maybe it's time for you to start pulling like from other people's stories and maybe trying to like use that. So, yeah.
How has your love of dance affected the relationships in your life?
I kept it so private. Oh my God. You're definitely the first person to be like, to like see everything, like that individual whom I dated for a long time. I never took him anywhere. Like, he never met anyone, nothing, because like I felt like that was just like so personal. Like I never wanted to share that. It was also like such like close relationships with like me and my students, or like me and whatever teacher who was teaching me, or the choreographer who was teaching me. Like, it's just a thing that's so personal that I never wanted to like merge the two. But I do feel like it makes it harder to connect emotionally. You feel like that other person's not going to understand. Like, there's a connection between dancers where like they just kind of get it, like they get it. And I think it's tough when like a regular human comes in and then like, what, I'm supposed to explain to you like what this dance is about, but like you don't even know dance. So it's like, what are you gonna look at it and be like, how do you get that leg into being like this emotion? Like, I don't know. I think it's really made it hard. It's made it really hard. And like, I think everything deeper in that way, like, because when you're a dancer, you like have to make an arm an emotion, or convey an emotion, where so it's like you overthink everything emotionally all the time. How do I explain that to you or somebody? I don't know. I think it just makes it hard.
Is there a piece of choreography that you never forget?
Yeah, it's the quartet. 100%. Oh, no! Oh my God. I just had like a flashback. weirdly, okay, so I had a couple students whose like family members had passed away. And I'd never had anyone pass away. So I made this group about like loss. And I've lost people like emotionally, but not like as like a death or anything. And so I was like, well, I can pull from that choreographically. So I think it was like 8 or 9 people. And I made them all bring a piece of paper in and write what like loss meant to them. And no one was gonna read it, just themselves. Like Dakota told me she still has it. Like it's crazy. And it's been like 7 years, maybe 8 years. And I like made this dance based on loss. And then in the middle of a rehearsal, my uncle died. It was crazy. It was like crazy. And I just like I'll never forget it because like I didn't make it for me. I made it for them and it ended up becoming like for me. So yeah, I'll never forget that.
What relationships did you make from dance?
I don't want to name people. So like my first teacher who we don't have a good relationship. My second mentor who like essentially was like a mother to me. We don't speak anymore, but we just don't. But she was like a mother to me. She took care of me. I feel like she nurtured me as a dancer. And as much as I feel like there was like a lot of manipulation and like, I definitely feel like I was taken advantage of because I was young. Not like that, but I just mean like, I couldn't work for anyone else. I couldn't do anything with anyone else. Like she wanted me to just be hers. And I feel like I was taken advantage of that way. Like I couldn't do anything else. And I was like manipulated into being like, yeah, I don't need to do anything else. So I think that really affected me that way. But she raised me and she taught me so much. And like, she's definitely the reason why I create how I do. And I'm very grateful for that. It was time to move on from each other. Matthew like banned me from going to like dance events because like I'm not good at that like fake stuff. Like I think every dancer can tell you, or like any creator, any artist can tell you that like the people you come into contact with are like using you to get somewhere. And they're like, oh my God, we need to hang out. Or like, oh my God, I miss you. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we never talked before this. Like, we don't have to do this. Like, and I would be like mean, but I was just being myself when people would be like, oh my God, we totally have to hang out. And I would just get so sick of it, like going to these like social events, like these dance events. And I would be like, we don't have to, like, we literally don't have to. We don't have to do this exchange. And then Matthew was like, you can't come here anymore. Like, you're not playing the game right. And I realized that wasn't for me. So I'm not good at the whole like making friends and dance thing in that way. But I met my best friend to dance, so he's the best. 10-something years strong. Yeah.
What in the last 13, 14 years has changed as far as your perspective of what the dance world is really like?
Oh my God, I felt like I was sold a dream. My teachers went to LA and they did the LA thing and they were like, you're gonna do the LA thing, you're gonna succeed in blaming me. If you love dance, like you're just expected to like suck it up and like be poor. Like dance doesn't pay you any money. Like it doesn't. But I'm an artist, so like I'm a starving artist. Starving artist is like a real thing. Unless you like work your ass off and you're working like all day, every day, like all night. Like you could, like there's no 8-hour shift that makes you like a fuck ton of money. That's like not a thing. Unless like, I don't know, maybe if you book multiple tours, but I didn't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be a backup dancer. I also didn't work that fucking hard to dance behind someone. So like, let's start there. That's not for me. Like, I didn't work my ass off, kill myself in a studio to go like kickball change behind some artist. Like, no, I worked really fucking hard. I want to show that. But then I realized I don't want to show that at all. And I think it's good to follow your dream, but I think people need to be more clear about what the dream entails. So what's my perspective? It has nothing to do with dance if you choose dance. Like, your career isn't involved around dance. There's a lot of other things involved.
Do you have any dance mentors now? Or like, who inspires you now?
No, no one. I don't have any. Because I'm not looking for any. I like don't watch anything anymore. Like I don't watch dance things. I don't watch anything because I just like kind of like don't want to be influenced by it. Like I just want like whatever I create to be like what comes from my brain. I don't want to accidentally see something and then have that influence it. It used to be Jason Parsons. He is incredible and I'm obsessed with him. And my dream used to be to work with him or dance with him. but I quit. So like I never came to fruition. I don't have any dance inspirations anymore. That's so sad, because like I used to just crave that, like more inspiration, more what can I gain, who can I work with, like these people I would watch, these like Jason Parsons, like I would watch these people, Ida Saki, oh my god, like, and just want so deeply to learn from them, and then it just like died. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I won't say who it is. Worked with a company, and I so desperately wanted to learn from these people, and then they essayed him. And then my whole idea of mentors and like idols and inspiration is like when you look up to people and they like kill it, it made me never want to feel that again. They always let you down. Yeah.
If you could give 16-year-old Nicholas advice on dance, what would it be?
Don't stay anywhere too long. Don't stay with people in the industry too long. No one's fighting for you. Fight for yourself, and once you feel like you're in the wrong environment, it's time to go. If you feel like you're being taken advantage of in an environment in dance, you are. If you feel like people are fake or not right for you, they're not. Like, go with it. Because they're gonna like lie to you and manipulate you. Artists are fucked. All they do is make up scenarios in their head to make art with. Obviously, they can lie and manipulate, you know? I can too. Like, artists can do that. You pull something from nothing. And so it's very easy to be taken advantage of. And I would tell myself not to stay anywhere for more than like 2 years. Yeah.
So knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently?
I would have moved to New York when I wanted to. I'm going to move away. I'm doing this. I'm taking the risk. I want to leave. And my mentor at the time convinced me not to. And then I stayed for 4 more years and worked for her dream, not my own. Yeah.
What is the best thing to come from your dance career?
No. I almost got through this whole video. My best friend. Matthew. We just wouldn't have met. Like, we met, he was 17, he was such a baby. Like, we were so young. We met at a dance event. Like, we were both dancing for other people. That's how we met. And we didn't talk to each other because we both thought each other were like bitches. And we were like, we just didn't talk, but meanwhile we both were like, oh my god, they're so cute, like so cool. And then we both auditioned for a job and we both got it. And I think he DM'd me and was like, do you want to go together, like to the rehearsal? And we went and got like coffee, I think like Starbucks, which was probably like a tea at that time. I don't even think I was drinking coffee. We probably got like a $7 tea. And then we went to the rehearsal. And then like from that day forward, we just like never separated. I just never would have met him, I don't think, had we not danced. I met my like forever twin flame from dance. And then we lived together, and then everything together. Like, we just literally lived like the craziest life. And still to this day, like, we FaceTime all the time. Like, and I moved away, he moved away, and like we will be together forever. Yeah, he is the best thing to come from it, hands down. My soulmate. Yeah. Yeah.